and gentlemen. This is QRP. Thanks for coming back to us this week. My name is Deck, otherwise known as Bad Juju. I'm joined by my co-host, Eric O'Wees. Hi, Tim. How are you
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, Eric Louise, or as you know as Tim. So yeah, both. But yeah, I'm
Sometimes.
good.
Does anybody else? I wonder if anybody else does the thing that we've done, where we have started calling each other. I mean, we've grown out of it in the last few years, but where we just call each other by our gamer tags for like a good decade.
Yeah, it
That
was kind
was
of weird.
weird.
It was a little bit weird, and it was a little bit because it's not even like a shorter, like calling you badge or calling you deck. It's like
Yeah,
it's
the
not
same
even
amount of syllables.
it's not even
Yeah.
abbreviated. Yeah, but like I guess it was more just the sense that I don't know. You kind of just moved away and left me in the dust. It's for another podcast. This and yeah, I guess the only time we actually spoke was sort of over Xbox, just to sort of catch up, which was on a daily basis. And I guess just seeing you in like an Xbox party was just how I sort of saw and talked to you, and it was just weird. I don't know.
I think you're right. It's because I was at uni for whatever, like 4 or 5 years. So when we spoke over Xbox. So that just stuck.
Yeah.
And I think we changed our gamer tags like when I had just went to uni as well to what they are now.
Yeah.
So
it's a good thing though, because I do think that Xbox really did just help us stay in touch, like just talking and playing games and stuff like that.
For sure.
Because when you do uni, when you get your job, and your job involves studying and working like yours does, and you've moved away, you got other sort of stuff, it can be quite easy to like lose touch with people. But obviously we've known each other for like 20 plus years, and I do think that's definitely just sort of helped us stay in touch. The addiction of gaming.
100%. I mean, there are friends that I have like definitely lost touch with a little bit, because I just haven't been able to keep, I can't see you in person. That people move all around the country.
100%.
Not supposed to be there. I'm gonna have some really. Oh no. Okay, that's fine. I was gonna have some really. I thought because my notifications coming up, I thought, I'll put a cool background on, and now it's gone idle. So it's just like, you're 50 bananas off an achievement in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, you just need to go on YouTube and like type in pretty backgrounds or something like that, and just get like a 10-hour
loop.
That's what I do. 10-hour podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. You just mute it and just have the video playing. But yeah, how have you been this week? How's your week been, mate?
How has my week been? It's been bloody hot. It's cooled down towards the end of this week, thankfully, here in the old U to the K. Other than that, I've just been busy, man. I'm trying to like play some of my sports more and stuff like that. So I don't know, but there's a lot of it, and then like I run out of evenings to actually like play games and stuff. So it's just like trying to find a balance, but at the same time, like I need to lose fucking COVID weight, so I'm like trying to do that. And I'm sick. Yeah, and because it's been so hot as well, I'm like coming out. It's like a half an hour drive for me to go to where I go to, like the leisure centre where I go and do it, and like on the way back, I'm so smelly. I stink. It's disgusting.
It's kind of rank. I have the same thing when I have like an away game for cricket. You're just out all day. You're super sweaty. Because of COVID and restrictions, like clubhouses, changing rooms are off limits, so we can't shower. Not that I didn't always shower anyway. Sometimes I did, depending if it was like super hot. But yeah, and then you just get back in your car and just your t-shirt is just sticking to you, and you just got a 40-minute drive in your car, and it's horrible. It isn't the nicest feeling, but
I get this is like. It's like a hot box. Like, it's gross. I know you're the same for you. Yeah, you have to do like long drives back. It's gross. So yeah, I've been doing that, and then other than that, it's just been. I mean, to be honest, like there hasn't been a huge amount of Xbox news this week. There's been some like gaming news stuff, and like obviously I've been really excited by Death's Door that happened this week, and I'm excited to speak about that.
Mm.
There has been some like previews of Psychonauts 2 as well, so there has been some stuff that's happening, and there's some stuff happening next week as well. But other than that, yeah, just been trying to exercise and not overheat. It's been quite busy at work as well, but yeah, all right. Other than that, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Yeah, work as usual, sport as usual, cricket on the weekend, sort of thing. Yeah, dealing with the heat. Annoyingly enough, it really did. I mean, yesterday did turn out to be a pretty nice day, but the forecast was like really shocking. But then we actually got a really nice day of cricket out of it, which was good. But yeah, just just boiling hot throughout the entire week when I'm stuck in my room on a laptop and I'm literally melting. And then it comes to the weekend and it's just like, oh, you're gonna get some overcast, a little bit of rain. And I'm like, oh, come on, I can actually escape my house now, and you fucking give me bad weather. But yeah, it's been a pretty chill week. And then obviously Death's Door came out, which I was quite excited for. I remember being quite excited for it. I remember watching a trailer for it quite a while ago. It was ages ago, and I was like, this looks cool. Like, I wasn't really sure what it was. I thought it might be like a roguelike sort of game, but then I was, I found out it wasn't, but that still didn't really bum me out. And then it was E3. They showed another trailer when Devolver had their like segment at E3, and it was there again. And I was just like, oh, that's cool. And then we realized it was actually coming out quite soon. So I have been waiting on that. But yeah, I guess we're probably going to move on to talking about that a little bit later. So I'll save my opinions on that. Because I did buy it. And I have been playing it. I know playing a game outside of Apex is
it's amazing,
very, very shocking for me.
You're such a cultured gamer.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm really getting there. But yeah. No. Apart from that, standard sort of Apex throughout the week. Getting quite excited for season 10, which is coming up. New legend, new gun. It's shaping up to be quite a cool looking season, hopefully. And hopefully a better battle pass. I don't think you can get much worse than the battle pass that was this season. So
yeah, they have been a bit weird.
Maybe they learned their lesson.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing for like maps. I think there's like some arena maps that they're making. But I don't think maybe there's a new point of interest, maybe a town takeover. Yeah, I don't know, but whatever.
Oh no, they're changing. They're like shaking up World's Edge loads, aren't they? They're,
like, you're right.
And all like the lava and shit. So basically, World's Edge is going to feel like essentially like a new map. Like it's supposed to be some pretty drastic changes, which is cool because I do think World's Edge needs it. It definitely started to get some Skull Town vibes where you drop city or you just don't do anything for the whole game. So it definitely needed shaking up. And I think it was quite a smart move to do that. And we don't need a new map. Olympus still feels very new in my eyes. So when that comes into rotation, it still feels like a very new one. But I guess this season is World's Edge, King's Canyon, the first two maps, isn't it, in rotation?
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah,
which is a shame because I still think I'd rather have Olympus over King's Canyon personally. I don't feel like I've got my time out of Olympus quite yet.
No,
I just don't see why they can't just have all three in rotation, right? Like, is that so crazy to ask? You can.
Yeah, for cash, I don't understand why. For ranked, I get it, but for
for ranked, 100%, shaking up and just keeping one consistent map for the entire season is fine. I'm completely on board with that. But yeah, it just seems kind of weird for cash. You can't just. I mean, arena maps just rotate every like 30 minutes or something. Why can't you just have like, I don't know, like a few hours rotation for every single map, or even just like a few days or something like that. World's Edge for 3 days, Olympus for 3 days.
That reminds me. Do you remember like the early days of matchmaking where like you would vote, like the lobby would vote on the map to play, like you come up with 2 or 3 choices.
Shit
what
system.
The fuck? Isn't that
shit
just so?
system.
That's so like archaic to even think
and they
about.
and they had a really stupid system where whenever you got the vote, it it was always you could vote for the map you just played as well.
Yeah,
So sometimes you were always just in
just the
loop.
same map.
So
Yeah,
if it was like Nuketown or something, and you just played on Nuketown, then you finish that game, you get into the lobby, and your next options are Nuketown again, or this, and everyone loves Nuketown. So you're just stuck in some horrible limbo of playing nothing but Nuketown. And
it's dreadful.
it was stupid. Why did they have a repeat map? Like, no,
Yeah,
I just played that map. I want to play something else.
it's
Like,
crazy. Yeah,
I just don't understand. I mean, the whole voting map thing is not great anyway, but at least just give me two new choices rather than a fucking repeat option, which everyone's going to pick. I was so sick of Shipment and Nuketown. Like, just
yeah,
get me off these maps. They're awful. I
yeah,
spawn and I die to a grenade. That's not fun.
yeah. It's one of those things that, like, when you're at the drawing board as a dev, I imagine you're looking at it, you're like, "Yep, great idea." You know, it gives
Power
players
to the
more like
people.
more agency to the players in the lobby. But then what actually ends up happening is that most players just gravitate towards the maps where it's just like high chaos, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, exactly.
What a crazy time that was.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
mad.
yeah, that was old school FPS days. But yeah,
I can't even think of the last game that has done that. Yeah, maybe like COD 4 or something. But did the COD 4 remake do that? Did you get the COD 4 remake? I don't know. I don't think you did. Did you?
I think we did. We got it for that duos mode, didn't we? We didn't end up playing it that much.
That no, that was Modern Warfare. Not I mean, sorry, I meant the COD 4 remake.
Yeah, that is Modern Warfare.
Is it? I thought they did.
It's COD 4.
I'm not
Modern
sure
Warfare.
if I'm being a spud.
Yeah,
I
I'm pretty sure.
thought they did. I thought they did a they rebooted COD 4. No, so they rebooted Modern Warfare, and I thought they also did a remake of like COD 4 of like the actual game.
Oh, maybe they did. Yeah, yeah, and I think they sold it with another card.
Yeah,
With the new card, didn't they? I can't remember which one. Either way, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they had map voting back. But yeah, I mean, I guess the latest one to do that would probably be like one of the Black Ops series or something. Black Ops 2, maybe.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
I think there was map voting in that. But yeah,
crazy, crazy times.
Crazy times.
Crazy times. So that's that. I mean, I've got like, ladies and gentlemen, for my notes this week, there's been like some stuff that's happened this week that I want to speak over, but there's also been like some stuff which is like kind of low priority, and I figured we'll kind of just talk about it, because it's not necessarily Xbox stuff. So like, if you can see the timestamps if you're watching on YouTube and you're not interested, you can skip past it, and then we'll get back onto the Xbox stuff. But it's relevant to the industry, and I feel like it would be silly to not speak about it just for the sake of like it needs to be signal boosted for a lot of this. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is, of course, the whole Activision-Blizzard. Imagine being Blizzard right now. Imagine being acquired by Activision and now being caught up in this, or the other way around, because it is Blizzard that's being accused, or is it Activision as well? It's both. It's both.
Yeah.
So even better is to think about Bungie, who like only, when was it, like 18 months, 2 years ago, like distanced themselves from Activision, and they've like been on Twitter and like distancing themselves from it. They're like, at Bungie, we don't tolerate X, Y, and Z, and it's just funny because it's got acquired by a shit company, man. But whatever. So like what's going on at the moment, and for anybody who's not in the loop, is that they are being sued. Activision-Blizzard are being sued because they are one and the same. Remember, they've merged. Sorry, I said acquisition, but it's a merger. Being accused of frat boy culture with sexual harassment, unequal pay, retaliation for like reporting and for reporting it to like managerial. So that's been going on. Had you heard about this throughout the week at all?
I have caught wind of it. Yeah. I did read some articles briefly. Not too much. I'm sure you'll go into it in a little bit more detail than I currently know. But yeah, I just know some pretty not okay stuff is going on over there. So
yeah, because this is like, it's almost, it's crazy that I'm not even like shocked that another big industry member is involved with this sort of behavior, because like this has been happening with like Ubisoft recently, hasn't it? Like Ubisoft have had allegations of this sort of stuff going on. It's like, what? Why? Is it just because I don't even know. Maybe it's just because like these are big organizations that aren't like regulated as tightly as other ones. Like, I don't know. Like this,
it's you probably find in a lot of big organizations, even outside of the gaming industry, this stuff does get lost in just a sea of people and paperwork. It's just so hard to regulate and monitor all this stuff. I mean, obviously it's gotten so much better, like with all these regulations in place and all that kind of stuff, but it still does happen in quite a lot of big companies. I would like to imagine, I have no facts, supporting that, but I would just, I don't know, inside of any large organization, I could probably see some form of this happening in the majority of them. But
yeah, and that's like, that's the thing. It's just, maybe it's because like we follow the games industry more, and I know like there are other organizations that obviously have these sorts of difficulties as well. But it makes me think, like, what is it about game? Like, it's even smaller devs have kind of been accused of this stuff as well. Like Riot Games, they make League of Legends. Like, they've had problems with this as well. I can't think of any other more off the top of my head, but like this isn't like massively uncommon, and like it just makes me think: is it because like largely people who go into the game industry are, they work mostly out of passion? Like the pay is, from what I understand, like most, like the pay for a lot of this until you get to senior roles is like just okay. And we've all heard about crunch and burnout and all of that. And because of that, you get a lot of like managerials who come in, aren't really savvy or privy to the gaming industry, and then just allow like these sorts of cultures to breed. But like maybe it's like because you're just like exploiting people who are like doing stuff passion. Yeah, I don't know, whatever, I'm just speculating, but it's just,
yeah
it's obviously not okay, and it's just stupid, and I just wanted to cover it, and to take one quote from something, which was obviously pretty shocking, and this is probably verging on a trigger warning, but the suit also points to a female Activision employee who took her own life while on a company trip with her male supervisor. The employee had been subjected to intense sexual harassment prior to her death, including having nude photos passed around at a company holiday party, the complaint says. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what
just
sort of like cartoonish sort of villain do you have to be to allow that?
Yeah.
Or perpetuate that, yeah.
I mean, what is this? I mean, they're supposed to be adults. I mean, Jesus Christ, you wouldn't even expect this out of a trolling teenager that's horny all the time and just can't really control themselves. I mean, passing around nude images and just being just discriminating, and it's really just not okay. And it probably sounds like it was probably going on for a while, right? And it just got to a bit of a breaking point for this person. So obviously absolutely just not okay in every way, shape and form.
Yep, it's all dreadful stuff, and it's a bit of a bummer to start the podcast out with that, really. But we couldn't not speak about it, and I know all the other podcasts are going to be speaking about it as well. But it's this stuff is stupid, and I'm glad they've been sued, because like they need, and like there have been emails sent out to staff from like the higher ups saying like, oh, we're going to investigate this, like this is not, we won't tolerate this is not acceptable. But I don't know, this shit needs to be sorted because it's clearly happening too much, and I don't it's just a really bad look on the gaming industry, because I think it gets quite a bad rep of being like quite unfriendly to women and minorities as well. And then when this comes out that it's actually happening in the industry as well, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, like it just perpetuates it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So.
yeah. It's I mean, there's not really too much to say, but it just needs to stop, right? It just like you said, I'm glad legal action's being taken, and whoever's responsible for it, you know, I don't really know what would happen. I guess they would get some sort of time, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, if
someone's taken their own life, to this, right? I mean, I'm sure that's jail time, and you know, which is quite justified.
At the very least, like huge suspension, massive fine, all of that. So yeah.
Huge suspension. He should be absolutely fired and blacklisted from the game industry completely. Like, he just shouldn't be allowed to ever get a job in the industry ever again.
Yeah, totally.
Any parties involved. Just make their lives as difficult as possible from this point onwards.
And I know this is somewhat ironic because, like, just on the topic of what we're talking about, like women and minorities in gaming, Overwatch, being developed by Blizzard, is one of those games which has one of the most diverse amount of gamers in, because it has a diverse collection of characters. So, and then this is a bit of a tangent, but whatever. I'm going there anyway, and I understand the irony that this is a Blizzard game that I'm talking about. But when we're speaking about like inclusivity in the industry, a lot of people get really weird about that, like really weird. And a lot of people will be like, so it's something I saw a lot of weird stuff about Apex as well with the newest character. If you haven't seen, is like he's an African or Nigerian dude, and people just get really weird about it. Like, it's just so bizarre. So I just wanted to say is that, like, there's been plenty of studies on this, is so that the shows, when there are more diverse cast members, more diverse people are like more likely to come into the game. So like, it's not just there to signal boost or virtue signal. It's there because there are real world effects. People get onto it more. People feel more. The barrier to entry is lower. And so it's not just a bunch of white dudes running around shooting each other. And it's cool. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that in there because part of that kind of culture seems to like bleed into the industry a little bit, of people being like, no women in my game, and it's just like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like, it's just absolute sociopath. Like, it's just weird. So yeah, whatever. Ran over.
Yeah, ran over. But it needed to be said, like you said. So
yeah. So that's been happening. Sort of shit out Activision-Blizzard. I'm slurring. Activision-Blizzard.
Yes, how angry you are.
Yeah. Whatever. I hope I don't have to cover this again. I just want this to be sorted because I'm so sick and tired of hearing about stupid stuff happening in developers, like, and publishers, and under people's noses where it just shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Okay. EA Play happened this week, as we obviously know happened because we've already yapped on about Apex, but there was a Dead Space remake revealed. You see this? You see this?
I did, and I'm a big Dead Space fan. The first Dead Space was good. I mean, they were all okay, to be fair. They started branching into a different direction where they went co-op for the third one, I think, which we played a little bit of, I think.
Did we?
Or did I play that with my brother? I might have played that.
I don't think I've played it.
But yeah, the first Dead Space was great. Really, really good game. And absolutely deserves a remake, in my opinion. Because back when it released, it was quite a revolutionary game in the sort of like horror shooter genre, because it kind of did a really good job of blending the two together, which I don't think you saw too much of back then. And yeah, it had a perfect sort of mix of action and horror, and like loads of suspense and a lot of jump scares, all that sort of stuff wrapped up into a pretty cool sci-fi package. And I liked it. And this new, I mean, I looked at the card at the end, which was like Dead Space. It showed that it was next gen consoles only. So that's also pretty cool. So that's going to be a next gen exclusive, and it's going to look crispy. And I think playing a nice horror on those sort of platforms will be pretty damn cool. So I'm quite excited.
Yeah. I mean, do you know how much Dead Space I've played?
0.
Exactly 0. So,
0.
yeah, and I mean, like, this is still exciting to me because I know a lot of people love it. Like on a couple of other podcasts I listen to, a lot of people like have spoken about how much they like it. Particularly the first one, they said it went a bit downhill in the second and third, but they were still fine. It just went downhill a bit. And I mean, what do you think about the following statement? EA are beginning to turn things around.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
I don't have a stance on it. I would say with the upcoming stuff, yeah. I mean, they haven't been great in recent times. So I mean, with all their stuff coming up, yeah, I would agree with the statement that they're starting to turn it around. Sure, yeah. I mean, I don't really follow EA amazingly closely, like a hawkeye, but yeah, I wouldn't disagree with the statement. I mean, do you?
I mean, I guess like we're really good. Humans are really bad, should I say, at like identifying things, how good things are, the value of things at like an absolute level. So when you see something like on its own and you just say, how good is that? It's hard to put a number on it. What we're really good at is noting how good things are like relative to other things. And relative to someone, there's a particular other big publisher who is just can't seem to get anything right at the moment. And that publisher is Ubisoft. XDefiant was a thing. We haven't even spoken about it, even in the real life, IRL. XDefiant. Did you see that?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about? You don't even know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't even know what XDefiant is. What's XDefiant?
That's wonderful. That is fucking wonderful.
I guess that's perfect. It's proven your point perfectly, I guess.
So let me just wrap up my point before we come back to it. So, yeah, I'm looking at what EA's doing, the trajectory they've been on versus someone like Ubisoft who has like been choking over and over again with like their big titles. Breakpoint, like Far Cry 6. Like it's just like, okay, I don't know. It's not getting like any huge reception, is it? No. There's something else, like their inability to like do anything with the Splinter Cell IP. I don't even like give a shit. I've never played a Splinter Cell game, but I know people want it, and they just keep like putting it in mobile games and stuff. I know there's some other stuff they've been doing which has been kind of shit. I mean, I like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, whatever. I'll treat that as the exception. But EA, by comparison, have been like Jedi Fallen Order. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is now actually considered pretty good.
Yeah.
Knockout City.
Great.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Good.
And now I've got an upcoming Dead Space remake. And obviously they've canned...
They did It Takes Two as well.
Oh, yeah, totally. It Takes Two.
So, that's good.
So they're
doing... Looks great.
Battlefield, yeah. They're doing quite a good job of like fostering some more indie stuff. With It Takes Two and like Knockout City, things like that. And I feel like you could make the argument that since having like put a nail in the coffin for Anthem, someone up top has been like, we need to start turning something around. Like the public image is too bad. Like this is going to really damage us unless we start doing stuff to win back favor. And that's obviously Mass Effect Legendary Edition was like, pretty much a guaranteed knockout unless they really like put microtransactions in it or something.
He's botched it, yeah.
Yeah. And I know you could say something like a Mass Effect remake or Dead Space remake are just like easy wins. Okay, yeah, maybe. But the Legendary Edition is... I'm sure if you were someone who's already played Mass Effect and they're then going back to play Legendary Edition, you'd be quite happy with all the enhancements. Like, 'cause it does play genuinely really well. It could do with a couple of like accessibility options. I think like you can't change the control scheme, which does piss me off a little bit. But other than that, it's pretty stellar. And for someone like me who never got a chance to play those old EA games back in the day, like I said, I've never played Dead Space, never played Mass Effect. This is really good for me. Like I'm quite excited to play these. So I think you could make the argument that if Anthem getting binned was EA's all-time low, there was nowhere else for them to go other than up.
Exactly.
And so they are kind of going up a little bit. In my head, I think they kind of are. We'll see, because they've done some weird shit before in the past, and I'm almost waiting on a sexual harassment case to come out of EA as well. But I'm just hoping it doesn't happen.
Really?
So,
oh my god.
Yeah, so they've been doing all right, and I'm happy to see it, honestly, because I know there's sometimes people get caught up in like this thing and just like to say things are bad just kind of for the sake of it. Like they've had a bad streak, but I think this is looking good. So yeah, before I move on to XDefiant, like, are you in agreement?
Yeah. I mean, I was in agreement where there was no way to go but up. They are improving. And their recent reveal of the Dead Space remake is cool. And Battlefield is shaping up to look pretty great. And they did a good job with like you said, with Mass Effect and everything. Their last few things they've done and their last few projects and upcoming projects like Dead Space are looking pretty promising and have done pretty well. So sure, they're improving.
And we know they're working on a new Mass Effect and a new Dragon Age, which are now like meant to be just like single player games, which it's what they are at their core. So that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I do think they kind of they're starting to see the bigger picture here a little bit, and just improve. So, and I think they're doing that, slowly but surely. So yeah,
cool. So I mean that's that, and like I said with my long-winded point about judging value by relativity, XDefiant. I can't believe you haven't even seen anything about this. That kind of shocks me. Google it right now. Google it right now on stream, live reactions.
Jesus. All right. Let me just get my screen up. How was it? Literally just XDefiant, all one word, yeah.
Yep, all one word. Just like find a short trailer and just watch it while we're live.
Okay. XDefiant trailer. Tom Clancy, yeah?
Tom Clancy, of course.
The reveal trailer? Sure.
How long is it? Yeah, sure.
It's 3.5 minutes.
3.5 minutes,
6 days ago.
Yeah, just skip forward to the gameplay. You don't need to see the rest. You can watch the rest later. Just get let us know what you think. So, for those who don't know, XDefiant is kind of Ubisoft's next kind of arena shooter, first-person shooter that got announced, and people have been largely.
God, that was loud. Sorry,
people have been largely unimpressed, and also because it's another game with just the Tom Clancy's label just slapped onto it. But yeah, so you've seen what a good.
Okay, free to play, high octane shooter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks pretty uninspired so far. Tank. Okay, an assault. He's got a flamethrower.
Mm-hmm.
It just. Oh god, everyone's dying so quick. What is this TTK?
Quite quick, right?
It just.
I mean, just.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of got. It uses clans from previous Tom Clancy games.
I think there's meant to be. Yeah, it's kind of like a shared like Ubisoft universe, kind of. That's kind of the angle on it, but.
Yeah, I mean, It looks okay. I've
And
watched.
that's the overwhelming consensus of the hot like that in the internet. It's fine, I guess.
It's just it's very uninspired, isn't it? Like everything I've seen here, I've seen done before,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look fantastic. Like the gunplay and the sort of the like the first person mechanics and movement and how it all looked and felt. It didn't look great, to be
Hmm.
really honest. Especially when you compare it to like obviously our favorite shooter like Apex. Um, I mean, it's not even a patch on that, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm guessing this is kind of like that arena style kind of shooter. It's going for like a sort of Valorant or a Rogue Company sort of feel. I'm guessing that's kind of what they're
Hmm.
going for.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks very uninspired and very meh, very lukewarm
yeah.
for me.
I've um I've got someone like maniacally ringing my doorbell, so I'm just gonna go and check what's going on there. So feel free to just keep talking to us about XDefiant if you want.
Oh God.
I'll only be 20 seconds.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that's fine. Um. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It looks fine. I mean, it definitely looks like it has all those sort of nice customization options and stuff like that. But I mean, again, I feel like every shooter does that these days. You're really not doing anything new when you bring that to the table. And were we saying X Defiant was Ubisoft? Let me just have a quick look while Deck is doing that. X Defiant. Let's have a look if it was Ubisoft. I mean, it would be right if it was Tom Clancy. Yeah, yeah. So it is Ubisoft. That does worry me in the sense of when you see all these customization options and stuff like that. It being Ubisoft, I'm smelling microtransaction heaven. Um, Especially if the game is not looking too hot. I was literally just saying now that you're back. Um, I was looking at sort of when they were showing off all the customization options and stuff like that, which don't get me wrong, is not bringing anything new to the table. Every game
Yeah.
does that, especially free to play. Um, I was literally just looking at that, and I just looked at Ubisoft, and then looked at that, and then looked at Ubisoft, and I was like, this game's gonna absolutely ruin my wallet, like, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have a feeling
Yeah.
it's going to just be microtransaction heavy, especially if it comes out of the gates like really like lukewarm and not great. They're just going to want to just milk every penny they can out of it, sort of thing.
Yeah. It's one of those things, isn't it? Because it's like it's such a like competitive area, like that genre. So to see like another one pop up that, to be honest, doesn't really distinguish itself, it's like, why am I going to give time to this? Like, because I watched the gameplay, and don't get me wrong, like it looks smooth. Like, there's nothing wrong with
Mm-hmm.
it. It's just it looks like COD. Like, I
It's
literally, it
okay.
looks like COD. It looks
Yeah.
it looks like COD with a couple of abilities. You know, COD has been leaning into specializations and abilities for a couple of games now, so that's not particularly new either.
Mm.
Um, I guess the whole shared Ubisoft universe is kind of cool, but like
Yeah. That's okay.
you already have Rainbow Six Siege. Like, I don't understand. Like, there's such an overlap in those types of games. I know there's a slightly different audience because Siege is a lot more slower and tactical, but like, I
It's
don't
just not
know.
needed. It's not needed, is it? It's just it feels like they're just trying to wedge themselves into this genre to compete with the likes of Valorant, CS:GO, all that sort of stuff. But then it's
Yeah,
also not really the same because there's no like purchasing at the beginning. Because is Valorant solely class based, or do you purchase guns and equipment at the beginning, similar to CS:GO?
oh, that's a good question. I do think
I
you
I
purchase
think you
stuff.
purchase. Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
purchase. So I don't think this one looked like it was purchased, right? Like purchased at the beginning of the game. Kind of
no.
just looked like loadouts and class based and stuff like that. So I don't know. They're kind of just trying to wedge themselves in to compete with these games. It's just not necessary. Siege has proven to be so popular and really good and really well supported. keep supporting that and make another one that later down the line. It just seems so unnecessary to have an IP like this.
Yeah.
Some cool ideas, don't get me wrong, but the overall execution just looks very 6 out of 10.
Yeah, there's just nothing that it's just like whatever. It's just nothing unique about it. And like because I think it's weird. Ever since we had do you remember back in when was it? Like 2014, whenever Overwatch came out, there was this slew of hero shooters that just because obviously was it Team Fortress set that trend, and then Overwatch came about. Then we have Battleborn. There's kind of even Evolve at the time had a hero shooter angle. And I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure there's more I'm forgetting. And then it got a lot of games tried to become a bit more hero-y, like COD, we started getting specializations and stuff. That was a bit more hero-y. And then we had a bit of a lull, and now it's kind of come back again, with Apex and some people are quite fatigued by it. I think that I love I think it's a way more interesting way to do most shooters, and so I do like the hero angle on it, but none of the characters are really. It just all looks like bland military shit. I don't know, none of it looks interesting.
Yeah.
I posted this on our Twitter the other day. You can go follow us on Twitter at /Quick Resume Pod. And I said that I feel like hero shooters allow for some really cool characters to be made, with more detail, more lore, more artistic freedom and creativity than you would maybe usually see in any other game. Maybe not a single player game, but as kind of a middle point, just because the devs get so much time to each person you play as has to be treated like they're going to be mained by someone. So it's got to be someone who looks really cool, all their abilities are in line with that. They've got a cool backstory that explains why they are the way they are, the voice actor, and all of that. So I think there's a good argument that stuff is, for me, I think it's very, very cool. But this, just none of it's clicking for me here. None of it's coming together.
Yeah, it's all just, they're just faces on paper. You don't care about them, which I think is where Apex really excels. They do exactly that. They release these characters and they build them up before they even release them. They introduce them as lore into other characters and stuff like that, and then they release them. And they all have such unique designs. You could look over any legend in Apex, and they all look so unique and so different. And sure, you have your standard, Gibraltar has his bubble shield, so you do have your boring abilities in there that every single hero shooter would have. But then you also have some really experimental ones. I mean, for crying out loud, when they introduced the Revenant as the murder robot and stuff like that, the synthetic, I did not think his ult would be a totem that you put down and you turn into a zombie and you can just run at people, and then when you die you get sent back to that totem. You give me 1,000 guesses and I wouldn't have guessed that as his ultimate. They're very creative with these sort of things, and each character is packed with voice lines that interact with other characters and stuff like that. And yeah, you're not going to see that with XDefiant. It's just going to be some fucking dude that's just nice, and that's it.
Got him.
Yeah. It's very uninspired.
But for sure. And I'd even say someone like Pathfinder in Apex, which was in base, a physics-based grapple, to grapple you around the map. I know we've seen a grapple stuff now coming about in Battlefield and 2042, and see it obviously in Halo, and I guess it comes back to Titanfall a little bit. But without going into it too much, it's none of it looks too interesting. I don't know, I'm not going to totally write it off because I don't want to be that guy that's just hating for no reason. But it doesn't it looks the gunplay looks smooth. Maybe I'll give it a go if it's a bit more interesting. It's free to play, but it's just from what I'm seeing, it's why am I playing this over any other shooter? I need to, especially with all the competition coming up at the end of the year. You got Halo, you got Battlefield, you're going to have another COD, even though supposedly it's a disaster, but they're going to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's that.
Yeah.
That's XDefiant, and also what a shitty name, like
Yeah.
XDefiant, XD.
I don't even know what it even means. Yeah,
What does that mean?
It's a bad name. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's that. I want to talk about as well. We've kind of so for EA Play, we also had Battlefield 2042. Portal was announced as well, which is kind of like a custom games, multi-generation Battlefield mode, I guess. Like,
Not
so you
not
can
every
play.
generation. I noticed. It
No,
didn't
yeah, not
include
everyone.
every generation of Battlefield.
Some really popular ones from previous. There was like some from 3, some from 4, some from Battlefield Bad Company 2.
Yeah. No 1,
and then
which was quite surprising because that was all like very in the past and stuff like that. I would have thought that'd be quite cool to mix that in with modern, but
I mean, maybe they will in the future, but for launch,
I'm sure they'll cater for every single Battlefield game, like 100%. They'll probably include even which was the one where it was Cops and Robbers.
Hardline.
Battlefield Hardline, yeah, because there was some pretty cool game modes in there. I actually quite enjoyed some of those game modes. You had to like steal the money and bring it back to your vault and stuff like that. They'll include all those universes, so you can create custom games around all that sort of stuff. I'm sure, just not immediately at launch.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I think it's cool, man. I'm liking this. I feel like we're seeing maybe not. I feel like we're seeing a bit of a resurgence in kind of this custom game mode kind of thing. And I only say that because the other game I'm thinking of is Forza, with their play, their thing. And obviously Halo will have a focus on custom games and Forge. And I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's cool. Like they were going on the not the patch notes, the article or whatever for the announcement. They were speaking about like the possibilities, and you can have different armies from different eras go against each other. So like some of them will be like World War One, some will be like modern times. It's just, and you can do weird stuff where it's like a team of 10 with assault rifles versus a team of 40 with just bayonets, just things like that. And there's like community maps as well. So I think this is cool, man. I think Battlefield 2042 is shaping up to be cool, and it's catching a lot of attention as well. And I'm saying that as someone who has I've never really been opposed to Battlefield, but never really cared. Like I'll jump in and out, like whatever. But it's I think it's catching my attention, man. I've got you got my attention.
Yeah, I have to admit, it's the first Battlefield that I mean, I've bought and played a couple, but it's the first Battlefield for a long time that I've actually sat down and like tried to follow and like keep up with the news and stuff like that. Because it is catching my attention as well. And I think they're pouring a lot into trying to grab your attention, because they are trying to justify this price tag, aren't they, over free to play titles that are coming out.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing a really good job at it. And I think Battlefield Portal is probably I don't know how much they've kept that under wraps. I don't know if you're like a huge Battlefield fan, if you've known this has been coming for years or something like that. They've always liked it as an idea. I don't know, or if they literally just threw that out of the blue, and no one expected it. But I had no idea something like that would be in Battlefield 2042. It was a complete surprise to me, and I think it's awesome. I think it's really, really cool. It's just, and it'll be a nice break from the this realistic sort of shooter simulator game you're playing all the time. It'll be a nice break just to fuck around and just have another game mode to just separate that little bit more serious competitive big scale war to just a fun, silly mess around with your mates, a small group of mates, or open it up to a larger community that they can just download your map and play it. I think it's awesome. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could like argue that like the rise of like online, I want to say that like online party games, like Among Us, like Fall Guys, I'm sure there's another one.
Gang Beasts.
Yeah, Gang Beasts, things like that.
What was the other
like
one?
It proves
Human Fall Flat, all that sort
Human
of
Fall
stuff.
Flat. Yeah, definitely. I think it proves that there is still like a market to like capture, even in like the hardcore gamer, not just the core gamer, that there is a market for that. Like people like being able to like play seriously, but then also have those times where you're just, like you said, just kind of fucking about. So I think you could definitely attribute it to the rise in those games for sure.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely a game mode. It's definitely something I'll dip into quite a lot in 2042. So, it was a big surprise to me, and I'm very glad it's there. And again, that's just I feel like the money is just levitating out of my wallet to buy this game at this point. It just looks really cool at the moment, right? So
it's a busy holiday. There's quite a lot of stuff coming out around holiday now.
Yeah, expensive holiday.
It's going to be an expensive holiday. Game share for the win, and hopefully Games Pass, but we'll see. Cool. Next up, I mean, this was something that happened last week, but we didn't really get a chance to touch on it, and I don't really know if you have any opinions about it. But there was like a whole thing about Netflix, like saying in their financial report that they're looking to move into video games. And then there were some like leaks and rumors that maybe PlayStation were looking to partner with them. But there's like not been any validity to it, and a lot of insiders are kind of shaking their heads a little bit. So I don't know, but like, I mean, what do you think about this idea of like Netflix moving into video games? They've said that they wouldn't charge any more, so it will just be part of the Netflix subscription.
Okay. I mean, they always say that, but then I feel like my Netflix subscription has gone up every year for like the last 3 years. So they'll probably just like stealth rise it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. Netflix are obviously a massive company, and they have a great like tech stack, and the software they use to run Netflix is fantastic. So if they can move that into video gaming and stuff like that, it could be kind of the next thing for video game streaming. I'm assuming they'll probably go into that sort of like video game streaming sort of area.
Yeah.
And it could be the Stadia that never was, so yeah, it's very exciting. Well, it's not very exciting. It's quite exciting, like at the prospect of what it could be, but I don't know. It's hard to say, and these sort of things will take, if they like partner with like Sony, maybe it'll get off the ground a little bit quicker. But these things do take quite a while to sort of get going as well. It's not gonna launch and be shit hot like straight away.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, yeah. I think they've said as well that they're looking to just focus on like mobile games to begin with, because Netflix is in everyone's pocket already. Like they have the app on TVs, but I'm not really sure how that would work yet, unless I know there are some TVs you can like hook controllers up to via Bluetooth or whatever, but I don't think we're quite there yet without like proprietary like plug like a stick or a gaming plug and play stick or whatever. Maybe they'll do something like that. I don't know, because they don't have a console is ultimately like what I'm getting at. So yeah, it's an interesting move. We'll see how it goes. It's obviously the first kind of, well, maybe it could be the first sort of Games Pass competitor, really. I mean, it's just wild though. Like if you think about what's been happening in the industry in the last 5 years, and particularly in the last 2 years, the amount of money, it's just been so exponential. It's just gone up and up and up. From Amazon trying to get into it, Google trying to get into it, now Netflix, Xbox buying Bethesda, PlayStation making acquisitions themselves as well. There's just so much money flowing around in the industry now, you can tell. But yeah, Activision-Blizzard, that merger as well. Yeah. All right. So we'll see Netflix. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're now moving into like some of the more Xbox related news, and the first part isn't. I mean, it sort of is. So Sumo Digital, huge UK developer. They've got loads of different teams across the UK. Their main HQ is in Sheffield, and they've been known to do like support. They do a lot of, they're like a support studio, but they also do make their own games as well. They're best known for, they made Crackdown 3. So, they did Astro's Playroom for PlayStation, which was obviously received really well. They recently released Hood, which unfortunately is kind of dead on arrival. But they also did Sonic Team Racing, so they do have like this long portfolio, and that's just like their games that they've made. They do loads of support stuff as well. And Tencent have recently they acquired them back at the beginning of this week. The overlord Tencent is starting to get a bit scary. I don't know. Maybe this is just me being biased, because if it was like someone like Xbox, I'd be like, yeah, cool. But I guess when it's Tencent, and I know Tencent have like a really bad reputation now, I'm kind of like, I don't like that they're acquiring so much, because they acquired a couple of other studios the other month as well, but not as big as Sumo. But yeah,
I mean, like you said, it's quite a big acquisition, I guess. Sumo are a big studio.
big, yeah.
They're a bit 50-50 with their releases, especially those games we just listed. But yeah, I don't know how much they've helped out in all these support projects and stuff like that. And if a lot of studios are asking for their help in support, they must be pretty talented to sort of be asked to help on lots of different projects and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite a big acquisition, and I guess we'll just sort of see what comes of that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the biggest concern is that Tencent have a bad reputation for making their games like mobile games, lots of like gacha mechanics and gambling mechanics and things like that. And I can only hope as the years go by, this sort of stuff gets regulated more and more. And but we are starting to see it happen. I think places like Belgium. I think there are a few more places as well, like have straight up made it illegal. So like, like for example, so for a lot of these games, if you switch your region to Belgium, there'll be another mechanic in place. I think so. Yeah, like if you buy the Battle Pass in Apex and switch to Belgium, all of the packs get replaced with crafting materials. And as you level up, instead of getting packs, you just get crafting materials. So like that gambling mechanic is not allowed there. It's just straight prohibited. So this stuff is being looked into. We'll just have to see how it goes, because I don't like the idea of this shift towards mobile games. I don't think many people do, but yeah, it's something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So this week we had some Psychonauts 2 previews. I don't know if you saw any of them, but like loads of like journalists and not insiders, I guess. Yeah, just journalists and enthusiasts or whatever. Got to play like the first 4 or 5 hours, I think, and a lot of them uploaded some videos on it, and it was pretty overwhelmingly positive, really positive, in fact. Did you see any of this?
I did see that this all happened and went out, but I didn't see any sort of like videos and people talking about it so much. But I mean, it doesn't surprise me. We've been quite excited for Psychonauts, and every time I see it, I feel like it definitely gets better and better. So it doesn't surprise me that it's being positively received at all. So it's great.
Yeah, and I think like it was more so the case that a lot of outlets, like not just Xbox or Windows outlets, said that they felt it could be a Game of the Year contender. Like so the previews were that positive. The general consensus I understood was everything was kind of amazing. Like it looked really good. The script is really funny, very clever. Obviously the level design, very funny, very clever. It's all very responsive. The only thing I heard was that sometimes the combat can feel a bit stiff. Like it's not bad, it's good, whereas the rest of it is kind of amazing. So yeah, and I mean that I guess I was expecting it to be really good, but this sort of response is obviously above and beyond. So I'm really happy for Double Fine, and I hope this is reflected in reviews when it comes out, because this is the first game they've had the full support of the full backing of Xbox from, really. I guess it's not full support, but in the last, it's been delayed like years and whatever, but it's clearly got a big boost, and that has resulted in this platform disparity as well between all the consoles. So like, And this has caused a bit of controversy as well. Like, always is the bloody case. People arguing about pixels and shit. But what is essentially the case is that when the game it started as a crowdfunding project for those that didn't know, and when that happened, it was promised to come out on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Those were the platforms that were promised. Since Double Fine's acquisition, Xbox have said, here's a blank check, go and make this the best game that it could possibly be. And so obviously on those lines, I don't know if it's just because Xbox have prohibited it, or Double Fine have just said, let's direct the money towards Xbox consoles. And we've known this for a while. We've known Psychonauts 2 will not run natively on the PS5. It will only be accessible through backwards compat from PS4. And as a result, that means the Series S and the X are both running better than what it's going to be running on the PS5. Quite substantially more. Also, there will be a 120 frames option for both the S and the X. There will also be HDR support and VRR support, variable refresh rate as well, which neither of which are available for PS5. So it's like, I can't say I'm hugely surprised. Xbox are going to be marketing this as an exclusive. It's not, but they're going to be pushing it as their game. And if you're a big fan of Psychonauts 2 and you want the best experience, the S and the X both run it better than it on any of the other platforms, so that's going to be the place to play it. Any sort of surprises there for you?
No, like you said, it doesn't surprise me at all. We're marketing it as our game. We've helped fund it as our game and improve it, and like you said, make it the best game possible. So I think it's only right that it does just have that edge on our platform, right? And it's never nice to shaft another platform, but I mean, it gets done by everyone at the end of the day. Everyone's been an offender in this regard. So
yeah, and then that's the thing, like, because we don't know the whole story. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's just because the team at Xbox has stepped in and been like, look, we don't want you making the PS5 version as good as the Xbox, or like, we know it's a pain. The PlayStation backwards compatibility is a pain in the ass. Like, we know it is. We've heard it across multiple devs. We've seen the way it's like it impacts the performance of the PlayStation 5. So I reckon at some point when they were weighing up, should we make a next gen optimized version and push the release date out further? They were like, well, for Xbox, it's going to be easy peasy. We'll have it done in a week. For PlayStation, it's going to take us 3 weeks, and that's going to cost us money that you've given us. So Xbox are like, no, don't fucking bother. Keep that money, put it back into our version, make it better. So if it was like as easy as 1, 2, 3, I'm sure they would. Well, I don't know, but it may be the case that might have been the factor that has stopped them doing it. But
I kind of agree with that theory. That probably was it at the end of the day. And there's no reason why we should fund development time and effort into another platform to run it as well as ours when we're marketing it as our game, right? We're nice guys. Philly's a nice guy, but he's not really going to do that, is he? So but yeah, doesn't surprise me, and cool. Yeah, if you like Psychonauts and you like the way it looks and you want to play it, then Series S or X is your best option, and obviously S is the cheaper option. So and it still runs. It's fucking awesome. I'm surprised it has a 120 frame rate option for the S.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's PS5 is still running at 1440p 60 frames, so whatever, serviceable. Series X, Series S is at 1620. 60 frames or 120 if your Xbox can handle it. If your TV can handle it, and then it's 4K on Series X. So that's that. Just waiting for the reviews to come out. Really, this is coming out at the end of August, I believe. In the line of what we've described as a banger month. Not necessarily just a line, but over the next sort of 30 days. We had Death's Door, we've got the Ascent coming up, Flight Simulator, and then Psychonauts 2 over this next month. So. Fingers crossed for the team. I'm sure it will review well. We'll have to do a review prediction before on the episode before.
Sounds good.
Right, we're back to Death's Door. So I haven't played it yet. So you're Death's Door boy. So give us your breakdown.
Okay. All right, you guys have been waiting all episode for this. I know we're an hour and 5 in, and we've hit it.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been playing something other than Apex.
It's huge.
I've put about 3 hours into it so far, and I think I'm a solid 25-30% the way through the game. So you're looking at your sort of 8 to 9 hour experience, which is pretty nice considering it's a £15 game, right? I think £15 games, that's quite long for a game that sort of size.
Well, I mean, sorry, I don't want to break your flow, but if you just think about some games are coming out nowadays, single player action adventure games, 70 quid, 15-hour experience, 15-20-hour experience. At £15, it's like what, a fifth of the price? Maths help? No, about a fourth. Fourth. Yeah, about a quarter of the price. For 50,000. So I don't. That's good value. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah. So it's pretty decent value. Sort of adding that up, and I think that's if you just kind of blitz it right to the end as well. It's definitely, the level design and the art style is phenomenal. It's really good. The music is also really good.
I've heard that,
but it also just never chills out. It starts to get to you a little bit. Like it's constant. There's no it doesn't ever die down and go into a more chill melody. I'm sure it does in some places, but the majority of my experience is I'm just this is constant. This is some pretty it's nice sounding music, don't get me wrong, and it fits the atmosphere, but when you're doing an entire 30-minute level and it's just constant piano playing and constant just going on, it's a bit much.
Do you know what? I felt the same way about Doom. I know people love that soundtrack, but I found it a bit obnoxious. It never stops. It's oh my god! I had to turn the game down at some points because it just so much bass and heavy guitar. Yeah, so I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it is lovely. It is lovely music. And sound design overall, and the levels are great. So it has your I'm going to do the thing and say I'm going to compare it to Dark Souls, but it's very it's the sort of thing where they just give you a big level, and it gives you loads of different branching paths, and you go there and you're like, oh, I can't do anything here. Clearly, I come back here later when I got a new ability or something like that. So you kind of map it out in your brain, and then you advance through the level and you're like, oh, am I gonna have to go all the way back to reach that part? But it's you don't, because eventually you reach a part where you unlock a shortcut to then reach that bit, and then you kind of got your own the doors. You find doors every now and again that allow you to go back to this hub, which is essentially when you travel back to your safe space in Dark Souls to talk to the woman and level up and deposit your souls. It's essentially that you go back to your hub to spend your souls, or whatever they're called in that game. I think they actually are just souls at this place, and then so those are essentially your checkpoints, and then you reach all these different areas that you've passed and everything, all through shortcuts that you unlock as you go throughout the game. It's all just one interlinking level, which is great. It's pretty cool. And the health is also quite an interesting mechanic, where you obviously you just have your standard 4 hits, which you can improve and get bulkier. But you get these little seeds, which you can plant in pots around the map in loads of different areas, and then you plant it, and then you eat it, and you get full health, and then the plant kind of dies. But then if you come back there later, all the plants where you planted all your previous pots, they grow back. So you essentially just plant your little health plants. You plant health plants all around the map, these nice little checkpoints. And then you use them, and then they kind of grow back, so you can go back to them and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting.
Farmville. That's weird.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, what an odd mechanic. Okay, cool. I mean, does it add to the game? What does it force you to travel more than you would and explore more than you would?
Well, it's just a little bit, but it's just kind of nice to know that even if you're at full health and you're passing an area that you're now going back to, and you planted your little health plant there earlier, and you go in there and you get knocked up by a few enemies, whatever, you come back and you just eat that plant that that was at that place that you might have planted that like 4 hours ago and you never used it. But it's kind of like you're almost like planning for the future, and like at every point you have a nice little health vial if you need it. And at most sort of areas where you go back to like a sort of hub area, like I don't know, you walk into a building and it's like there's 3 locked doors, so you have to find the keys to all those doors. So eventually you spread off into your paths, you find your key, you come back to that main hub area, you unlock the door to go through. In a lot of those hub areas, you've got your like a pot to plant your health plant in and stuff like that. So it's really easy to, like, when you've done your perilous journey, you got the key, come back, you unlock the door, you just have a little eat. You have a little eat, you get full HP again, go through the door, you get another key,
snack,
you come back, you're hit again, but your plant's grown back, so you heal again. But yeah, it's quite an interesting health mechanic. And I have to admit, I didn't realize, I thought they were one-time use for the longest time. So I was like holding on to my seeds, and I was always just like, okay, I'll plant, eat, and that's it. I guess that's the mechanic. And then I came back and I was just like, this thing's grown back. And I was just like, do these grow back? Like, do I need to be planting these all the time? But yeah, so it's quite interesting. And yeah, so what's impressed me most is the level design, and those small little mechanics like that. And yeah, basically the kind of story is you play as like a crow, and in this universe, these crows, these birds and stuff like that, you're called reapers, and you essentially just you get like you have to like get souls, like evil souls or bad souls or whatever like that, and they're done in like contracts. You get given a contract to go get a soul, and bring it back, and those souls are what power more doors to open up these doorways to get more souls. Right. So it's like a continuous cycle sort of thing. But the thing is if you got a contract and you open up a door, if you at that point time stops standing still for you, because you kind of, once you open a door, then time flows normally for you. So you like age, you get old, fat, you can die, you become sort of mortal, I guess. But then when you finish that contract and the door closes, then that clock kind of stops for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little bit weird, and basically the story so far is that you open up a door for a contract, and your soul that you were going for the contract kind of escapes, and now you're on like some wild goose chase to finish your contract. And until you finish your contract, you're kind of you age, and you can die and stuff like that. So you have to close your contract, sort of thing. And there's like some big overarching story. I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, the things I'm not too impressed with, which aren't negative, I wouldn't take this as a negative experience, is the combat is a little bit, it's very standard so far from what I've got. I mean, I think I found some daggers now, and I've got your standard sword that you start with. But it's nothing you haven't seen before. Your 3-hit combo. You got a charged hit, which does more power. You've got a roll, and you can hit immediately after you do a roll, sort of thing. But those are sort of like your 4 moves, essentially. And you just go through the level just using that 3-hit combo, and rolling to kill your enemies. It's nothing too exciting. It's crispy. It works well, but it's not doing anything particularly new.
Can you deflect projectiles back?
Some you can. You get people throw spells at you, and you can hit them back and stuff like that. And you have a bow as well. And I just got a spell. I don't want to spoil it, but I did just get a spell.
Okay,
but,
cool.
I'm like 30% the way through the game, and I just found like my first spell, sort of thing. So there's not many. I think there's probably like 4. I think
they're all like hidden though, aren't they?
Game. Yeah,
from what I read, it's all like secrets.
Yeah, so you do have to explore to find them. Yeah, so you could go an entire playthrough and not find those daggers that I found. I found that on a completely branching path, just separate to where I should have gone for the main story. And I was just like, oh, a new weapon type. And I was like, nice. Because I was even starting to think that. I was like, I'm 25% of the way through the game. I'm still using the first weapon. And then I found that just exploring. So, but yeah, so it hasn't blown me away combat-wise. It's good, it's crispy, and it works really well, but it's not doing anything inventive. It's not blowing me out of the water in that regard. But it makes up for it with its art style, its level design, its music, and a fairly interesting story. Fairly interesting. It's definitely out there. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. That was quite a long-winded explanation, but
no, that's good, man. It gives us a sort of taste. So, I mean, just for anybody who doesn't know, when the game first came out, it hit a 90 on Opencritic. It's since come down to 88, which puts it at the best. It's so far the highest rated new IP released this gen. It puts it at the same score as Ratchet and Clank, from a team of 2. So, I mean, in score-wise, like, what are your thoughts as of right now?
As of right now, I'd probably give it a little bit lower than what it's got. I'd probably give it about an 8 right now. But I think once I get more weapons and more spells and the puzzles and the levels become a bit more intricate, because the puzzles are good as well. There are quite a lot of puzzles. And they're well designed. But I think as all that improves and your arsenal just gets bigger and you get more powerful, I can see the game, evening out and averaging out at that sort of high 80s, 90 mark. Because right now I'd probably give it an 8, and I'm at the point where I don't have that much to my character. He's only got more to grow. So I agree with the scores, and as of now, I'd probably give it lower, but I think as I progress, it will go higher for sure.
Makes sense. Okay, cool. Well, that's good to hear about. Thanks for that. Thanks for your breakdown. I'm excited to play it. It's looking really good. It's. I said last week on the podcast that it's a full exclusive. Turns out there's actually quite a lot of uncertainty around it. I don't really know. Nobody seems to know. Like, usually they're quite clear in that they call it a console, like, timed exclusive or something, but they haven't been using that terminology. So maybe they just created like an open-ended contract with Acid Nerve or Devolver Digital. Like, if it does really well, we want to renew it a bit longer. Which apparently is the hip new thing to do nowadays. Looking at you, Final Fantasy VII Remake and fucking Sony. So, I mean, we'll see. I don't doubt this will come to other platforms at some point. It's just a question of when rather than if, to be honest. So, yeah. Cool. Well, I'm really happy for those guys. So next up, this week, Bethesda announced that they're bringing custom game worlds to Fallout 76. Again, don't know if you saw anything about this. So you can make custom servers for you and your mates to go into, and you can make custom rules as well for it. So for up to 24 people. Obviously, your experience and your stuff doesn't carry over to like the public server. But I think this stuff is kind of cool. The thing that just brings to my mind as like a comparison is like Ark, and we've got some friends who go on Ark and will sometimes like go in custom servers and alter the settings so that it's funner for them.
But that's free.
That is free, Ark. Yeah.
It's not.
Whereas
you need a Fallout First subscription, which is a bit shitty.
You do need a Fallout First subscription, which is, to be honest, kind of expensive. I'm hoping at some point, like with the cash injection from Xbox, they just need to be like, hey, everything that was part of the subscription, you'll get it for free now, guys. Or just like everybody who has Games Pass, get it for free, something like that, because they don't need to be doing this, to be honest. Like, I know some like MMOs and games of this nature like have a subscription that you can opt into, but this is so expensive. It's like £100 a year or something, and it's and like that's on top. Yeah, that's on top of an already like crammed like market, like microtransaction market. So like whatever. I don't know. So it's a shame that it's stuck behind that, but I like that they're I like the idea of doing a custom world. I think that sounds kind of cool. I think would be a good way to get people into it.
Which is why they should make it free. But
yeah,
it would draw more attention to the game, right? And it'd get more downloads and more users if they just made that free. But they did put it behind a subscription. But it is cool.
Well, yeah.
You know, it shows that they're trying new things and they're coming out with new ideas. And yeah, I do think that would be really fun. I mean, we've been talking about potentially going back to it. It's definitely not something that I'm going to buy a Fallout First subscription for, though.
No.
So hopefully they do change that. But nonetheless, it's a cool idea.
Yeah. It's something I would like consider doing if we managed to get like a group of people on. Not I wouldn't pay for it, but it's something I would consider doing if, like there was 4, 5, 6 of us. So like, oh, should we piss around in Fallout 76 for like the next few weeks? Yeah, let's go to custom world. Let's just like do whatever, so we don't have to bother with PvP or. Yeah. And it should be noted that like only the host needs a Fallout First subscription for this, so only one person does it. Everybody else can join without.
I guess that's slightly better.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. The Coalition had a talk at GDC about Unreal Engine 5 and their experience with it, because they're, as we all know, they're very, very savvy with Unreal Engine, because they're like part of their like team DNA is from Epic, from before when they used to make Gears of War. So there's a lot of that team are very, very intimately familiar with that engine. And I think they are doing another one maybe over the next week. That was supposedly going to be like have some screenshots of their new IP in the works, but just very briefly to like get an idea of how powerful Unreal Engine 5 is. A whole Xbox 360 character, so the amount of pixels and the amount of like processing power that went into an entire character. So think of a Marcus Phoenix and his little shitty bandana. The same amount of pixels that go into that can fit into the eyelashes of an Unreal Engine 5 character. Wow. So Marcus Phoenix in your eyelashes.
That's all I've ever wanted.
It's exactly. It's a dream come true.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty crazy to think, and I mean it just gives you a sense of scale, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean that's mental. It's pretty exciting to see what's capable with that sort of engine. And shit's going to just look phenomenal on it, right? So
yeah, I mean they even like make a comparison here to like Gears 5. They said like this 15 times the number of triangles in the average asset from Gears 5, and Gears 5 and Hivebuster was obviously like really like some of the best looking games still on the console market.
They look great, yeah.
So 15 times the number into that is bonkers. So it's one of those things that like as we roll more and more into the gen, and this happens every generation, but like, as we do, things will become just start to look better and better. So yeah, it's all exciting to hear about. But Marcus Phoenix in my eyelashes is really the main takeaway there.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the timestamp right there.
Yeah, Phoenix in your eyelashes.
Everyone will go to that part of the videos and just be like, "What does it mean?
What are they talking about?" Yeah, it's just fucking nonsense that? Again. Yeah. Jiminy Cricket. Okay, and as our last story, we have just yesterday, the newest Inside Infinite came out. Like we said before, this is the monthly article that 343 put out for the updates around the game, and they're mostly speaking about flighting, which this has got to be happening in the next week or two. And they spoke about sort of their goals with flighting, what they intend to do, and like what they intend to get out of it. There were some really nice screenshots in there. If you want to go and have a look, it's on Halo Waypoint if you fancy it. For anybody listening, game continues to look very crisp. No different from what we saw at E3. But what the big takeaway was that the first flighting they're going to be doing is going to be focusing on bots. So if they do one in the next week or two, whenever it is, it will be, you can go into the firing range against bots, which have 4 difficulties. I think they said it was Recruit, Marine, ODST, and Spartan. Those are just like the difficulty names. So you can go in the firing range to do all the stuff there, and you'll be able to play Slayer with other people against bots.
Okay.
So that's like their first test, and then obviously they'll scale it up to other people as the tests go on and on. So yeah, according to the article, the bots are actually kind of challenging. So I mean, we'll see. But this has got to be right around the corner, man.
Yes, yeah. Especially that's a very early sounding flight sort of test. You know, if you're just playing against bots, that's just like stage 0.1, right? And like you said, they're just going to kind of scale up. And if they're looking to release the game around holiday time, you'd like to think a flight this early, testing such early features, just to basically make sure it kind of runs and you can connect to servers and actually just I don't know. It's it will need to come out quite soon for them to scale up and still do testing for more advanced stuff and release around late this year.
Mm-hmm. And for God's sake, like, last thing we want is another Master Chief Collection. I know that's like hanging over their heads forever, but it was dire. So
it was awful. Yeah,
I'm glad.
Get on. I would encourage everyone to sign up for the flight. Everyone to use it. Stress test the
Give them
shit
data.
out of it. Give them data. Yeah, so they can work on it, so they can improve it, and so we can actually have I just don't want it delayed again. I don't want it delayed again. Everyone test it. I want this thing to function. I don't want it to have an MCC, and I don't want it to be delayed again. So I'm encouraging everyone to give them data. Give them your firstborn. Anything.
Yeah. They also said that they're interested in seeing how players move through the UI for like battle pass and stuff. So I think you're going to be able to unlock like a restricted part of the first battle pass and stuff like that, just to make sure that that's all working. So I mean, nothing hugely surprising. I guess it's not. Maybe this is. I'm assuming this is going to be battle pass day one, which honestly actually isn't that common. Like usually games don't come out with it on day one. Usually they wait a week or a month or something, and then. So maybe that's the case.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess it makes more sense as well because supposedly like the progress is shared across campaign and multiplayer. So like you'll make progress towards Battle Pass even when you're doing the campaign. So
it
works for
makes
me.
Sense. Yeah.
Cool. But other than that, it was a fairly dry post. They spoke about like some more stuff of like what weapons you're going to be able to use, which isn't all of them, but quite a lot. I mean, how many are here? 12. Some of them, like the skewer, that really cool banished, like the giant harpoon
physics-based
gun
thing. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, the bulldog, that sort of like fast-firing shotgun, sniper, carbine, Ravager. I don't know what that is.
The Ravager. That was
that was a little shotgun pistol.
Yeah.
And there's also something here called the Heat Wave, and I don't know what that is either. So
cool. Well, those are all the guns I'd probably want to use and test anyway, because they're the new ones. So cool.
For sure. Yeah, no, I'm into it. And I think like none of this is on NDA, so like there will be loads of videos, by the time this is up, and it's good. I think that game feel is going to be really important. That first impression of just how it feels is going to make a big difference to how people are feeling about it. I mean, Halo 4 and 5 both felt good, so I don't really doubt that it's going to feel bad, but I think what I'm trying to say is like I think this could generate a lot of excitement if it's feeling good, and there's lots of videos floating around and Twitch streams are saying, I could also imagine like a lot of people fucking around with the physics in the sandbox as well. Do you know what I mean? Like running around and like being able to do all sorts of crazy stuff, like grapple hook, if that's in there as well, like just showing off that sandbox. And I think that could create a lot of excitement early on, even if it's just against bots.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. Any gameplay will be exciting.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to just get my hands on it.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see. Still no release date, and we don't have a release date for this first flying. As I say, it must be coming right around the corner. I reckon they want to give us a release date and a flighting date at the same time, because it's kind of like, it's coming out November 16th. Play it now if you've signed up.
Yeah.
And that gets people quite invested. So, and we'll have to see. But they're still waiting on, supposedly waiting on a COD release date before they announce when their date is. And November's starting to look quite crammed. I wouldn't be surprised if they push it back to December, like early December. But we'll see. Whatever. It's over the next month. I reckon we find out. That's my pledge to you.
Quite the pledge.
Quite the pledge. Okay, well, I mean, other than that, that's all the news for this week. I don't have anything else to go over. Although I did want to say that I played a bit of Monster Train on xCloud. I really should have spoken about this earlier, but I was playing Monster Train last night on xCloud with the touch controls. And it's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive. It was a bit laggy. It cut out every now and then, but it's no biggie. For the most part, it was pretty functional. I was just surprised us generally how easy it was.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just wanted to bowl that out at the end.
No, nice. That's fair enough. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, I don't have anything else to add today. Do you have anything else to add at all?
No. Apart from follow our socials and like the video or just do whatever you do if you're listening to it on Spotify or any other platform. Don't know if there's
of course
on there, but
yeah, we're waiting for some questions in the comments. So if anybody feels like being brave and being the first person in the comments, do head there. Give us something to speak about. We need ideas, and we can answer any of those questions in future videos. So other than that, do subscribe, please. Follow us on Twitter as well. And other than that, we'll speak to you. We'll speak to you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.